As the cuts start to bite into every department's budget, we can expect increased tensions around the executive table. Each minister will be fighting on to hold to what they've got in order to fulfil their spending obligations. Last week, we saw health lobbyists pleading for services to be retained or reinstated. And across Northern Ireland, schools are getting nervous. Almost 70 are waiting to get the go-ahead for major works, while spending a fortune patching up the old buildings in dire need of replacement. Yvette spent the day at one such school, St Clares Convent Primary in Newry.
Most pupils love their school, but these girls are especially proud of theirs. Established 180 years ago, St Clares is the oldest Catholic primary school in Ireland, still in its original building. But history counts for little when you're fighting a losing battle against decay. In the past year, nearly £300,000 has been spent patching up a crumbling edifice.
The difficulty for us is our school has so much charm in being an old building, and that is a wonderful thing to be part of. However, the cold, hard facts of running a school like this is that a huge part of your budget is taken up in maintenance. And that leaves less funds available for updating your ICT resources, your literacy resources. So that is a huge issue for me. Another issue is that I feel so many of our children's basic human rights are being compromised in a building this old. For the whole 5 years I've been here, our children have had outdoor toilets.
Oh yes, the toilets. Not only are they outdoors, they're also in a shocking condition. They're being refurbished, but only because the department's been forced to act.
Well, this is one set of our newly refurbished toilets. We had made several applications to get our toilets updated, and thankfully swine flu came along, which maintained that all schools had to have hot running water. We didn't have any in St Clares, so we were able to get these finally refurbed at last, so our children are delighted.
How much is it costing to do all the school toilets?
£144,000, so thankfully we're not footing that bill, but it's coming from the Department of Education's minor works allowance.
The dilapidation doesn't stop there. This is a specialist reading room. The artwork hides even worse sins, as it does elsewhere.
So you've had to be quite inventive with your artwork to try and cover up the damage, really?
We do. This was a display that was put up about a year ago. The wall was in such a poor state of repair that we got this huge notice board put up. But as you can see, the salt and the damaged paintwork is creeping further and further down the walls. And that really is the difficulty that we have throughout the school. We try to keep everything bright and airy, and then the elements come and make it look absolutely dreadful.
The school is part of a convent. Even the nuns have moved on to more modern accommodation. And it's not just the inside that's costing a fortune to patch up.
So unfortunately their budget ran out just as they reached that point, and we're hoping that maybe next year we'll see the rest of the building being painted.
What are the girls doing now?
Well, this is our fire escape route for our senior girls up on the 3rd floor, and it's a route that we do not particularly enjoy them coming down, but it's the only exit that they have in event of a fire.
It does look pretty dilapidated. Does that need replaced?
Well, I'm assured that it's still safe, but it is very frightening for the children, especially on an icy day or a rainy day.
How many teddies can you address?
Despite the surroundings, the pupils have access to the latest teaching technology. High standards are set and attained, but it's a daily struggle that staff in other schools don't have to put up with.
Our teachers, it's a labour of love for them. Many's the time they're sitting in November and December with their coats and scarves and gloves on in the class. Some of the children as well. Our staff are second to none. I keep telling them they have to work twice as hard as any other school, because when the external appearance of the school is so grim as ours is, you have to make sure that what's happening inside the school is so vibrant.
If you ever need a friend, someone to care and understand, I'll be.
While the girls would love a new school building, they take a real pride in St Clares, despite its condition.
It's really good because if you're doing history, you can just look around your school and it's like a history lesson.
My mummy used to go, and then mummy went, and now I'm going, and my mummy might get a new baby girl, and if she does, she's going to go.
you can see the way if you go to a modern school, they all have like new toilets and stuff, and then ours is a bit older.
Do you mind that?
No.
The plan is to have a whole new school. What do you think about that?
I'd like it because it's not going to be old, and it'll be new and more fun and all.
A decade ago, the Department of Education agreed that St Clares needed a new building. An archaeological dig held up the project, economic appraisals and plans lapsed as years went by. And there were also major departmental reviews of the entire school estate, which added further delays. The latest proposal is to merge St Clares with this school, St Coleman's Boys Primary, on a new site which has yet to be acquired. The parents say they love the school and its ethos, but after a decade of delays, they're losing patience.
The last thing we need is another few years wasted and business plans having to be redone, and the situation here is really quite frustrating for pupils and parents.
My main concern is that I feel like our children are done by, that other schools have been thought of and gone ahead and been built and finished and opened, and nearly time for repainting, and we're still soldiering on, going from 1 month to the next, waiting.
Our children are as important as any other children going to any other school in the north, and we would like to see that funding coming straight through as soon as possible. We have heard about delays because of the site and the suitability of the site. That's as may be, but it is not acceptable.
Katrina Rowan's facing similar demands from parents all across Northern Ireland, with scores of schools awaiting rebuilding or major refurbishment. And the department says it's doing what it can. Since May 2007, 39 major capital school projects have been completed, costing over £250 million. A further 16 projects are currently on site, worth another £250 million. In addition, 69 major capital projects are at various stages of the planning process, including St Clares Primary, which has twice hosted visits from the Minister.
We are now at the stage where you're going back through planning again. We're worried that the current economic appraisal will have expired before we get to starting stage. We're also worried that we're caught in the current economic climate. Is there going to be money to buy a new site? We just feel that we're in as precarious a situation really as we've ever been. And I suppose many of us wonder, is this new school going to happen? I know the Minister has taken a hand in this, and I'm hoping that she will see it through and that we will be sitting in our new school in a few years' time, because we truly deserve it.
The Minister, Katrina